Hi everyone, so for today we are going to be drawing Uta from One Piece. A little disclaimer, I never watched One Piece before, so this is actually a request from my previous video, and I thought it could be fun to just try to make an interpretation of a character that I never knew before. And I searched just a little bit, and I read that she is the antagonist of the film One Piece Red, I believe. I'm not really sure, sorry. And also uh, read that she is like an idol, like a singer. So I thought that I could be drawing her in an idol pose. So I got these references that I probably going to attach here in the video. Um, I tried to use this as a reference to get the pose for this character. I tried to replicate it as similar as possible, but I end up changing her right arm and move it like a little bit forward, so it could also help a bit to the composition and the visual tour. I'm not sure how it is translated in English, mostly to create a much interesting composition, and so the eyes get guided towards the face. So now I'm just going to finish inking. I did some changes, like the nose here, where I was going to draw the nose as I always do, but I tried to maybe adapt a bit to this style and to how anime looks nowadays, and so I tried to erase a bit of the nose, and I only draw one of the nostrils, I think it's called. For this little piece, this little fan art, I ended up drawing it on a Sunday, I believe. Usually I tend to have my end of the weekend like free, just so I can refresh my brain, I guess, and stop drawing for a bit, so I can take a break, I guess. But I realized that I don't know, this end of the weekend was a bit boring, and I ended up just drawing for fun, and I decided to use my free time to work on this video and maybe some of my pages from my comic, which the first issue is already up. If you're interested, on my Gumroad, you will see the link on the description. So right now I'm just working on the clothes, and the wings. I had a little bit of trouble with the wings. I generally don't know how to simplify the wings. There are many ways to interpret and simplify and draw the wings, and I tried to go for, or try to find a way to make it simple for me. Since it is an anime style, I didn't want to like end up doing a bunch of details, since usually anime styles tend to be much cleaner, I believe. And also so I left most of these without heavy shadows or hatching. And also I decided to color this since I don't know, I thought I wanted to practice a bit my coloring and see how I could interpret this in an anime style, and how maybe the rendering of the face and things could change. I think the most difficult part was actually not rendering much the face. Um, I usually tend to put just a bit more detail in the face, but since it's anime and most of the face it's a bit flat, I try to kind of hold back the rendering. The only things that I rendered was mostly the entire figure except of the head. I could experiment more with the wings or the clothes or the arms. And also I was planning to make this actually I was planning to make this not as rendered. I was thinking to make it with a simple cell shading, but in the end I thought that it looked quite simple, really, for my taste, I believe. And so I tried to go for a different approach in this case, and I tried to render just a bit more than usual, and also changed a bit of my I guess steps for coloring. I tend to have a really structured way to color my stuff. I and But in this case, at the end, I don't know, I think we don't reach this part yet, but there's a part where I will start like combining all the layers from the colors, except only the colors, not the inks, and I will start blending things out to make it look much more painterly. Is it correct to say? And I also added much more details and into the hair and shine parts. Also added some extra lights and more folds to the clothes. I think there's a part where I wanted to add more folds to the clothes, but sadly I got limited by the inks on the chest, and I had to just figure out how to simplify things and make it work with what I have. The reason why I try to not erase much the inks, I guess, since usually when I work in comics I tend to send only the stuff in black and white, and then there is other person who colors my stuff. So I'm trying to figure out how to like get the inks right or the figure right before coloring. And basically I'm trying to just test my own inks as if I was the other person coloring my own stuff, and trying to see like how difficult or what things I need to change in order to make the work easier for the colorist. But yeah, I guess that's why I'm not trying to change much the outlines of the inks once I have started the colors. This is not always, this is just sometimes when I decide to practice, I guess, my inks. So okay, right now I'm just rendering much more the figure. I'm trying to add more shiny parts. There's one little tip I would say is to you see in the beginning I put the light on the top left, and that should be kind of like the key light, and then on the opposite direction would be the second light which works more like a filler into the shadows to make it much more volumetric, I would say, and to show more of the volume of the figure. I usually try to do this so the figure looks much more 3D and not too flat. And there are other times where this, if I have a secondary light, I will try to add some colors to that filler light. What I'm trying to say is like, I guess I'm trying to think mostly like if it's a scene of a movie. Like in movies usually they use like 3 lights. So there are 3 types of lights. One is the key light, which is mainly the main light for the character and tends to cover the face the most. Usually it comes from the front sides. There's also the backlight, which separates the backgrounds from the character, giving sometimes a little rim light, and the fill light, which goes in the opposite direction of the key light to fill the darkest shadows. This also is on the front sides, but much lighter than the key light, since we don't want it to be as strong as the key light. This fill light, like what his name says, it helps to bring some light into the darkest parts of the shadows, so it doesn't look way too dark unless you're trying to go for that approach, like you're trying to go for a darker tone for the scene. Let's say if it's like a crime scene or dramatic scene, or maybe a villain scene, you will try to make darker shadows so it looks much more dramatic. Also, I forgot to add this detail. There was a part where I added, like, on top of everything, on top of the inks, on top of the colors, like a little gradient to make a little bloom of the light. I usually try to make this to make the environment much more real, much more I guess much more believable. And then there are also other times, if there is a secondary light, I will also use a little gradient to make the bloom of that secondary light, but I always keep in mind where it is coming from. Now I'm just finishing some tiny details, making darker shadows to make it much more volumetric, and also adding some details to the background, like little sparks. I'm not sure, it just feels much more magical this way. This is the part where I changed a bit the mouth. I didn't like the proportions of it, so I moved a few things to make it look much better. I guess that's it for today's video. This was me drawing another anime character that I never knew before. And I wouldn't mind if you guys let me know in the comments, like, if you could describe more of this character, and maybe what is it that you like so much watching One Piece. That being said, thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you on another video. Bye.